chances of success?
I don't think it's any secret, but I like to fight point forward, very, very dangerous with that thrust. And I like to harass the hands and see if I can get people to pull their tip back and allow the redoublement for the thrust. And lately,
which I've fallen victim to a couple of times, having been to your practices. It is rough.
Yeah, it's good. It's really nice. And the thing that I'm trying to do now is try to fight a little point back and see if I can harass the hands from a point back situation. A little Mazzani cut, trying to hit the hands and see if I can get away with that, and then make them think about it a little bit more. So
definitely. So as I said, you're a founder of Bridge City Blades?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your club. What's your practices look like? What styles do you practice the most?
We're in an Italian club. We actually teach Duello Armatari. And I am a really big fan of low gear drilling, really getting those techniques down and then bringing them into a faster speed. Huge on that, huge on slow sparring. Like if you can't do the technique slowly, how can you expect to do it fast?
Right, under that extreme pressure, high speed, high octane scenario, that is how you end up with injuries, is trying to execute maneuvers at too high of a speed.
Yeah, and then we focus a lot on bind control. We really try to focus on controlling our opponent's weapon. In the Italian system, the rapiers masters, they talk about this concept of stringer. It's to constrain the line. And I love it when people let me do that to them, and they do it with their point back. They just lay it right on top of there and just, yeah.
Well, hey, thank you very much for stopping by. Best of luck. We'll let you rest.
Thank you.
I believe we've got somebody else coming on up. Why don't you come over? Hi, how you doing? What's your name?
Lucifer.
Lucifer.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right, so tell us, how did your bouts go in pools?
So the first pool, I went with the first bout was 6-0, and it was because I had a controlled thrust that was 4 points, and then after that I had a thrust that was another 2 points, so it was called a mercy ranking thing. So they basically said I won that for the first round.
Yeah, we've gone over some of the rules a little bit on the stream, talking about how any difference of 6 points counts as a victory or defeat. So how did the rest of your bouts go?
After that, I can't really remember the second bout very well because it was against one of my buddies. But then the third bout, I got 2 doubles right from the get-go. And then so I guess everybody knows getting 3 doubles, you're out. You and the other fighter are out. So I had to play very conservatively, and I had to actually sit and like try to force the other opponent to move. And then once they did, that's when I came in with like the little quick snipes to get them the last little points all the way down. So
absolutely. So did you make it into Elims with your results?
Correct. I'm actually top 10 right now.
Fantastic. That's excellent news. Do you have any strategies going into the Elims that you want to try to implement in sort of a higher pressure scenario?
Just to be more defensive, I feel. Like, again, the intensity has been pretty high, and so I feel like being more defensive will kind of guide me to being able to, instead of going out and attacking, being like more able to parry and riposte, like block and attack afterwards. So
yeah, having that second intent action, responding, open eyes fencing, that's definitely something we talk about a lot in IFG. What club do you practice with?
Masterless fencing.
Nice. Yeah, so I noticed that you don't have one of the signature cod pieces. What's going on with that?
I'm not cool enough yet. I'm getting there.
See, at what level do you have to be to earn your cod piece?
I'm almost there. We'll just put it that way. I feel like I should get it soon.
Hey, we have Rabbit here, one of our illustrious directors for IFG. Tell us a little bit about how you think this tournament is going so far, aside from the injuries, which we've already addressed a little bit.
You know, I've been having a lot of fun. I think everybody's been having a lot of fun. There's been a lot of good fights, and morale is high.
Yeah, definitely after Joe's debrief a little bit, and this break especially, we're seeing a big boost in morale. It's great to hear. Now, I did say that I introduced you as Rabbit. Can you tell us where you got that name?
Well, first of all, my real name's Anthony. Second of all, I got it because when I fence, I hop around like a little rabbit. Although, actually, I don't really do that anymore, but it's kind of a holdover because I did Taekwondo for a while. So,
definitely fantastic. And what are you looking for going forward into the Elims as a director? What are the things that you'd like to see from the fencers?
Just clean fencing. Respect, a level of intensity that is acceptable, and just having fun. I think one of the best fights that we've seen today was between Anthony Bonomo and William Douglas, and they brought out all of their fun techniques. It was very mire-informed, lots of flowing cuts, and I think everybody who saw that fight would say that was one of the best of the day. So bringing that energy, it doesn't have to be slow, it doesn't have to be plodding, it can be fast, it can be fun, it can be up-tempo. It's about being light, it's about not being mad at each other, it's about not being bad at the calls, it's about having a good time, it's about making sure that what you are doing is giving everybody the best show and giving yourself a chance to win.
Yeah, treating yourself and your opponent with respect. Having seen that bout, I can tell you it was one of the most impressive bouts I've seen in a long time. Seeing, like you said, the mire-informed fencing, a lot of changing guards, big swings, coming in for really precise, flashy movements. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on and saying hello. We're going to bring on Josh.
Is this actually?
Yes. Josh Handegard. Now, we saw you in the infamous pool where we saw one of the more grievous injuries. But aside from that, how do you feel like your fights went in that pool?
I feel like they went pretty well.
I would agree, having spectated.
Thank you. I'm pleased with my performance, and I'm also really happy with the fencing styles of like the two people that I did get to fight. I was really looking forward to Kevin and Ben as well, but
Yeah, it is really disappointing when you see that sort of thing happen. Having two people drop out of the tournament in that pool. Were you able to make it to Elims with just those two fights?
Yeah. Rocco from Seize the Vor just told me that I'm seeded number 4th.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
He's 3rd, so I mean, no big deal.
Yeah. Well, humility is the champion of the day. Tell us, what kind of strategies are you bringing into Elims to face a more high-pressure, high-stakes scenario?
I'm trying not to overthink things, actually. Just relying on the feeling as much as I can. No two fights are going to be the same. No two fencers are going to be the same, and I think over-analyzing it is just going to be bad news.
Definitely. Are you going to make any changes from how you approach your pools fights to going into Elims?
I think with the injuries that have unfortunately occurred, I'm going to be a little more reserved. I don't think I'm going to be as assertive as I was in 2 fights that I had earlier. I don't want to see a 5th. Really don't want to see a 5th. So.
Yeah, totally understand. Well, hey, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate it. We're going to have Ember come on now. Good luck in your Elims. As an IFG fan, I hope you take it all. Godspeed.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Yes, indeed. All right, and we are ready for Ember. Ember, now this is the champion of last year's tournament, if I remember correctly, and the year before?
Yes, 2 years running.
2-peat champion coming from Lonin, invading my safe space, claiming victory both times. I think that ended up with the ban this year. You had to volunteer, right?
Yes, had to, in the strongest sense of the term.
Well, I gotta say, having watched those last 2 years of performances, incredibly impressive stuff. I mean, you see a lot of, looking back on it, I remember seeing a lot of thrusts with control, those high-value targets. Now, that differs a little bit from what we often see from Lonin fighters, which is very much a tighter, close-in game. Would you say that your style in general differs a little bit?
Yeah, I come from Olympic background. I did a lot of epee, and so that informs a lot of my fencing, which is thrust-centric. A lot of the fighters here at Lonin, we do a lot of Fiore. Most of our tournament fighters do mostly Fiore, so that's the very tight getting in, grappling. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And very aggressive, high presence. We saw it here with Nikki Siasina, with a lot of those sort of flurries of cuts, really closing in measure, overwhelming with that high pressure. Now, how do you feel about how this year's tournament is going as a non-participant?
I think it's going great. Every match that I've directed has been super clean. The fighters have been in excellent control, and I've seen it around the rings today. Like, everyone's just really bringing their A game. I think they're just trying to fill that power gap.
Definitely, definitely. That's a big thing to work on. You know, when you got a lot of fighters coming out hot out of the gate, things happen. Now, we did address that. Do you have any strategies that you're going to bring forward into Elims directing and judging? How are you going to call that to ensure as much safety as possible?
Yeah, a lot of it is just like noticing the fighter's demeanor. Are they really bouncy? How energetic are they? You know, how relaxed are they? And really taking that into account before the exchange starts this time, instead of waiting to see what happens in the exchange like we normally would. We're going to be a little more aggressive on if it seems like someone's a little amped up, to just, hey, please bring it down. They've been informed of this, so there shouldn't be any hurt feelings. But yeah, just reminding everyone we're here to have a good time.
Definitely, absolutely. And just last question, do you want to tell us a little bit about your home club, Lonin? You want to give a shout out to the boys up in Seattle?
Sure. To the boys, girls, theys, thems, it's everyone up in Lonin in Seattle. You know, it's a giant family of fighters up there. We love doing this. We love fighting. We love fighting each other. We love learning about fighting and really bringing a lot of different disciplines together based off of the text. And kind of showing, you know, what we can do.
Yeah, I do love seeing Lonin fighters really melding styles together very seamlessly. And I know that, you know, in the broadcast, we give a lot of little nits to Lonin and vice versa, and we act like there's a big rivalry. But really, it's very much a brother-sisterhood. It's a sibling rivalry.
Oh, for sure.
We love y'all. Y'all love us. We love showing out for each other's tournaments, and we're looking forward to Sword Squatch this year.
Yeah, come up to Sword Squatch, everyone. It's a good time. But like, just to kind of emphasize what you said, right? We're like sister clubs, right? This is not a rivalry between anyone. Everyone here in the Pacific Northwest realizes this is just a big extended family and behaves as such.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can you tell us what the dates are for this year's Sword Squatch?
I think it's on the weekend of the 5th. It's usually on the 11th, but it's a different date this year. I don't know off the top of my head.
The weekend of September 5th. I'm holding you to it. If you're wrong, I'm hunting you down. Hey, thank you very much for coming by. Appreciate it, and best of luck. September 5th through the 7th, 2025 is what my producer is shouting at me. So thank you very much. Have a great rest of the tournament. And to everybody on stream, stay tuned. We'll be starting back up in probably 10-15 minutes or so with the Elims. We dropped it down to a 32 fighter elimination bracket instead of an Elim pools, just in order to reduce the number of fights due to some of the injuries. But we'll be back with that soon enough. And till then, enjoy some chill lo-fi beats to clean your house to. Welcome back, everybody. We are starting the action soon. Real quick here, we're going to bring up some brackets. So this is the, oh, there was the air horn. Good old Joe coming in. Now, we have the brackets on HEMA scorecard. You can find them online if you like. As you can see, lots of the folks that we saw fighting today. So Cameron Blair versus Dimitri Sandborn is going to be our first. Cameron Rasmussen from California versus Cody Shepard. Lucifer, who we had an interview with earlier, versus Bo Glitchka. Eric Christensen versus Amelia Crate. Jordan Thompson versus Ryan Sherman. Iris Garcia, who we saw in our first pool, versus Jason Smith. That will be a match to watch. Absolutely. Jason is always a fighter to watch. Frank Torkel versus Justin Reimer. Justin Reimer being one of the top-ranked fencers in the world from Lonin Crew. Then we've got Roic Kinnard versus Josh Handegard, two IFG fencers. Very much looking forward to that. We've got Rocco Jones versus Jeffrey Campbell. Christopher Suhu versus Anthony Buonomo. Isaiah Hollingsworth versus Sihong Fu. Raiden Westerman versus Michael DeSimone. Ian Burgess-Linden versus Doug Mayofsky. That'll be a match to watch. Always good. His first set of pools, I tell you what, that man's sword moves like lightning. Up after that, we've got Benjamin Kuhn versus Ryan Kolick. Peter Lowry versus Klaus McGinchey. Klaus McGinchey representing IFG as well. And then Jack Barry versus Andy Plymate, who we also had an interview with, founder of Bridge City Blades, one of the best guys around. And as a guest commentator, we've got my boy, Peter. Peter, how you doing?
I am Peter Biernick. I am another fencer here at Indes, Ferox, Gladio, and I am having a wonderful day. Thank you for introducing me here. I am very eager to be commentating and observing our final pools here.
Now, we're used to seeing you fighting over the last couple years. What happened this year?
Well, you see, I do work as a bartender, and unfortunately, that does get in the way of fencing every now and then. Believe me, I would love to be out there today, but
capitalism ruins all of our lives.
You know, I'm a little mercenary, and I do want to relax one day in a giant Scrooge McDuck-style pile of money, right?
Can you get closer to the mic so
I'm sorry,
we can
my sonorous voice is being blocked from the people. They don't want you to hear me.
Yeah, exactly. You're being censored by your own distance from the mic.
I am my own worst enemy in all things.
In all things, including your choice of job that would keep you from competing in this illustrious tournament. Now, fortunately, as most people know, we have had a few injuries. So have you been witness to any of those happening today?
I did see an injury earlier. I want to avoid naming names for propriety's sake.
Of course.
It was one that I do believe was just kind of inherently a tragedy. The fencing involved was clean. The force involved was a little excessive.
Now, we are going to turn our attention to Pit 1, where we've got Dimitri Sandborn of Ironwood Historic Swordsmanship versus Cameron Blair of the Lonin League. Now we're going to have another little stand-in where, of course, we're going to go over safety again. Safety is so important in this sport. It is a high-speed, high-intensity combat sport. It is important that everybody involved is participating as safely as possible so that they keep fencing.
Always important to keep safety in mind. I have crossed paths with Cameron before. They are very characteristic of Lonin's sort of high-intensity, very aggressive style. I'm really looking forward to see how this match plays out.
Absolutely. We talked a little bit about that with Ember. High-pressure chopping, very interesting style. Let's see how it plays out against Dimitri Sandborn.
All right.
And off. Both fighters in a point-forward position. Dimitri Sandborn cutting around.
An excellent strike to the head from Cameron right there, I believe.
Indeed, waiting for that opening wherein Dimitri is switching guards, waiting for that brief split-second opening, diving in.
Another sort of characteristic part of the Lonin style right there, definitely providing pressure and taking advantage of that tempo.
100%. Tempo is so important in fencing. I mean, you can see it anytime when these fighters get into a rhythm right there. Tempo 1, tempo 2.
Yeah, you see Dimitri a little more cautious now. They're aware of the pressure Cameron can apply.
And definitely jumping in, trying to take advantage of the same kind of thing that Cameron did, and actually having almost the exact same result.
We might see this trade a lot as this exchange continues.
Really solid first intention attacks. We
6
do
and 6 right
see
now.
the score even up. Lonin going for that under chop of the hands, both prodding each other's measure, making sure they're protecting all parts of their body.
And it advanced into the middle exchange right there.
We saw an attempt at the classic Zvercopter from Dimitri, blocked very deftly by Cameron.
It appears that Dimitri is declining. Yeah, the slow motion replay definitely bears that out. Good honor on Dimitri here.
Great defense, and it looks like we do have a small warning for excessive force being used. That was part of the briefing that we had before the break, just making sure that everybody's fencing safely.
Both advancing into wide play here, changing guards, trying to angle for an opportunity.
Hanging out in that plow guard.
Yep.
Oh!
A clean thrust from Cameron Blair. Now that is a good attack.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see how he seemed to be just out of measure with his initial thrust, but he doubled up on it, proceeding forward and planting it in.
Although I believe there may have been an afterblow, maybe indicating
Indeed.
that doubling up provided a counter tempo for Dimitri to take advantage of. Oh,
Exactly
that was a
correct.
clean hit across the inside line right to the chin.
That does look to me like a double. I saw both fighters strike at the same time. I'm not sure who landed and who didn't.
Oh no.
Looks like they're going to
Double
wash that
and
exchange.
no exchange.
Oh, another double potential.
Both fencers perhaps getting a little over eager to cinch that last point.
Exactly. When it gets down to these low wounds, it's really hard to maintain that poise, to still stay relaxed. The adrenaline starts to pump.
Yeah, you definitely start to lose your composure as you feel the pressure of the score kind of weighing upon you. Little probing thrust there. Quick sweeps to the hands.
Oh!
Ooh, now that was a good counter tempo strike right there.
That looked like a clean shot to the head. I didn't see the afterblow, and it looks like Joe didn't either.
I believe so.
1 point each.
Ooh,
You
neck
cannot
and neck.
ask for a better bout.
Photo finish to this match right here. Let's see if the fencers can make this as cinematic as I think it's going to be.
See just these prodding, finding their measure.
Oh!
Ooh. Oh.
Have a little deliberation between the judges here.
Yeah. It looks like there was an afterblow that may have been a little bit out of tempo, so they're going to run it back because they're at 1 point each.
Enough uncertainty to wash the exchange for sure. Ooh, attempting to sweep the blade to create that false tempo right there. Dimitri engaging. Oh my goodness, Cameron going with the undershot. Unfortunately, that was a bit of a messy exchange.
I agree with the FAR judge that that was potentially a double.
We have the replay coming up right here. I do agree with our director. Those low shots are always tricky like that. I am extremely fond of them, but it can tee you up for a headshot if you're not covering that line.
It leaves you very exposed unless your sword is high. We talk about it a lot in IFG, raising the sword above the head, covering that upper opening, especially if you're going to do a level change like that.
Usually better to do that off the bind, but that was still a spirited attempt.
All right, one more go. We see
Very tense, wide exchange right here.
Cameron with a much more withdrawn guard, moving to that point forward. I heard a hit to the hand there. Judges did not.
Judges
Both
are, I think,
very
operating
nervous.
out of an abundance of caution here, not wishing. Oh, and that is a shot to the lower opening from Cameron Blair.
Yeah. Looked like it landed clean, tip to the hand. Very well done by Cameron Blair of the Lonin League.
That became a very cerebral exchange there in the end. A lot of posturing, a lot of very finicky range control, well handled by both fencers.
Absolutely. And, we talk about it pretty frequently, how it's basically lightning speed chess. You're looking at your opponent, trying to figure out what they're going to do. They're trying to figure out what you're going to do, and you each have to figure out how that matches up with each other. It's an incredible sport, honestly.
Truly is. You can't get an experience like this almost anywhere else. And the people as well are just simply fantastic.
Agreed.
I believe we have coming up next a couple of fencers that many people at IFG and I think a lot of people in the Pacific Northwest are going to be well aware of. We have Cody Shepard of Masterless Fencing and Cameron Rasmussen from F3 Sword Academy.
Have you ever met Cameron Rasmussen?
I have crossed swords with Cameron twice, or I've crossed swords with Cameron twice now. Cameron is a great fencer with a very good sense of range control.
Athletic monster, I will say.
Very strong, very strong.
I've been friends with Cameron since I lived down in California, where he is now, and he's actually who got me into fencing originally, and you can see
That was a good rising cut to the hands and defense right there.
Absolutely.
Although,
let's see the slow-mo
let's take a look at that replay.
We see almost what looks like an Unterswerk.
Yes, a rising true edge cut right to the wrist stops Cody's sword in mid-flight. That is incredible.
Interestingly, they called that as a deep target with afterblow, which is not what I felt I saw, but
we're not
judging is just such a difficult thing. They don't have that slow motion replay. We see what is that leg strike called? The Gesellen?
It's called a gazeling,
Gazeling.
one-handed sweep to the leg.
Yeah. Tricky play. Cameron likes to pull it out when he's feeling the pressure.
It is an interesting match right here. Cody Shepard is excellent at applying pressure. I saw him fight this way at SoCal Sword Fight as well. And Cameron himself is just a very poised fencer.
Yeah. And again, we see that high guard, Unterswerk kind of cut.
First intention Unterhau is a tricky cut to make work. You actually tend to see a lot of fencers, especially in a competitive context, avoid that cut almost entirely.
Definitely. It leaves you very open.
It, however, also protects on that line very well. Cameron is playing a nuanced. Oh my God, nuanced. He got nuance.
Hey, when your uncle gets married.
Oh, and a one-handed block over the shoulder right there.
Now, interestingly, that could have been looked at as an attempted strike to the spine, which is an illegal strike. Now, I will say Cameron did expose himself, but did a good job of defending that line, even though he exposed the opening.
Yes, that is, I would say, a cause for warning potentially, but a simple consequence of swordplay is that one rotates their body every now and then. Ooh. Hard to tell from my angle. Looks like we had a thrust to the hand with an afterblow to the head.
That thrust definitely landed. I do wonder if that afterblow is out of tempo.
It's on the edge for sure. Obviously, I'm not a judge in this match. I can't call it. Looks contemporaneous on the replay.
Contemporaneous. Wow, you had to pull out the real syllables for that one.
I'm a college boy for real, Elliot. Oh, and there we see that snap to the right side rising cut is just incredible.
Again, another fantastic Unterswerk from Cameron. He is finding a lot of success with that technique. I wonder if Cody will adjust.
Still very close in score. This fight could go either way with a simple hit to a deep target.
Interesting that they're playing in measure, in the bind.
No,
again, that same bread and butter technique.
You can definitely see how technique gets refined to a razor's edge here at a high level of competition. Both of them throwing away anything extraneous.
Very interesting. They called that as a deep target for 2 wounds, which does mean Cameron moves on over Cody. Great example of relying on a bread and butter, high percentage technique, both defending and attacking at the same time. Something we work on a lot at IFG.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And in fact, that defense during an attack is kind of elemental to Longsword, right?
Definitely.
When you don't have an offhand, when you're focusing on your timing there, every attack simultaneously has to be a defense, something that Cameron absolutely made good use of right there.
And from a historical perspective, that's something that they talk about as the differentiation between common fencing and masterful fencing, is the difference between a parry and riposte and having that as the same action.
Indeed, indeed. As Meyer says, if you're not paying attention to timing, it stops becoming combat and becomes a peasant's brawl. And what we saw was definitely combat. Two fencers operating with a clean sense of distance and timing.
Yeah.
We have two fencers that I am very looking forward to seeing here coming up. I know we have Sihong Fu, I believe from CHFG up in Vancouver, though I could be wrong there.
Sihong Fu is actually from Academy Duello.
You see, I am wrong. And Isaiah Hollingsworth of Indes Ferox Gladio, I am somewhat biased here, Isaiah being a student of mine.
Of course.
However,
a student of yours.
Well,
wow.
a student of the club, but you know,
big for your
I've
britches
taken
there,
I've taken a bit of an active role in teaching some of the young pups now, haven't
Something
I?
like a protege, even?
Something of an apprentice.
Oh.
No. Isaiah's good on his own recognizance right there, and seeing him sharpen himself against an experienced fencer like Sihong will be an interesting match.
Sihong is indeed a frightening fencer.
Very fast, well practiced. You can see Sihong's background in more conventional fencing here as well.
Now, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but Sihong's also got that sword.
Ooh. Looks like a very fast attack. I've come to expect this kind of thing from Isaiah. The boy can extend quickly.
Although it looks like the judges have determined that Sihong got the hit there. Interestingly enough. What I was saying about Sihong's sword is he's got the dual rings on either side of his crossguard, which is not the most common.
Very fashionable, though.
But very fashionable, indeed. You see it more and more in tournament longswords.
Both fencers engaging from the wide play. I'm unclear on that exchange. I would agree with the far judge on this one, but obviously I am not patrolling that ring at the moment.
Joe seems to agree as well. They're going to wash that.
Let the record show that I am always correct.
I have made that joke at least twice this stream, and it will never get old.
Classic comedy. Excellent poise on Isaiah's part right there. Sihong very fast on the retreat.
I'm loving Isaiah's footwork here. Staying very stable, very wide, but still showing a lot of speed.
You can absolutely see that poise paying dividends right here, not leaving many openings even against an experienced fencer like Sihong.
Although Sihong does seem to be finding the limited openings that he's got according to the judges.
You can see definitely that Sihong is playing a good game with a mixture of range and tempo right here, retreating under cover, body voiding thrusts.
When you say body voiding, can you tell the crowd a little bit more about what you mean by that?
Of course. Voiding is when you maneuver yourself to avoid the sword without having to parry. It can be simple as backing up, and it can be as daring as ducking under a blade. You can see Sihong every now and then move his body, lean over, like he just did right there actually, positioning his body behind his sword, and to keep himself safe, like we were just talking about.
It does look like, however, Isaiah wound the sword, got the hit.
Excellent work right there by Isaiah. 8-7. A probing attack to the hands.
A cheeky probing cut to the hand.
And we have our first double of the match, it looks like.
That definitely looked like a double to me, but they're going to call that a blow with afterblow.
Well, you know, I've been wrong before, but not frequently. Oh, my goodness.
Down to 6.
Now, this is
wounds
an
apiece.
exciting match.
We love to see it. I love a good underdog story.
You have no idea how hard I am trying to remain impartial right now.
I mean,
but I am actually brimming with pride.
Say whatever you want about Isaiah, but going toe-to-toe with Sihong is no small feat.
That would be difficult for me.
Yeah.
Making wide attacks here. Isaiah definitely applying pressure, but Sihong operating extremely well out of the knock right there.
Very interesting exchange there. It looks like Sihong felt that a halt should have been called.
Definitely.
And stopped fencing.
Definitely. That second exchange seemed a little excessive, not in terms of force, just a scoring hit had clearly been called.
Yeah.
Ooh, getting down to 5-5 here.
again, keeping it very even, tit for tat.
Ooh. Almost getting right through to the mask right there. If Sihong had extended a little more, that could have been a clean hit.
Sihong.
Oh, and an excellent half-tempo strike to the hands right there.
A half-tempo strike followed by a perfectly placed parry with great structure to defend against that afterblow.
It does take remarkable patience to pull those off in the heat of the moment. Remarkable play by Sihong.
Oh, another cheeky attempt.
Once again, that cut under cover to the hands right there. Sihong getting down to his bread and butter.
I think he senses that this isn't the easy match that he thought it might be.
No, for a rookie fencer to
back.
Yeah, for a rookie fencer to push Sihong this hard is very remarkable. Oh, there we go. Setting a tempo with those false edge beats.
Playing with the bind a little bit.
Attempting to change through. Oh, a near fumble by Sihong right there, but a failure to capitalize by Isaiah.
Isaiah, you could see he tried to capitalize it just a half of a beat too late. Sihong was able to recover, defend himself, and they are going to wash that exchange, it looks like.
Understood. All right. Ooh, a flying attack by Isaiah. I'm not sure if there was a scoring action there. Judges seem to be mixed of opinion, though we are awarding a wound to Isaiah.
That was a little bit more aggressive than I'd like to see from Isaiah, really jumping in, paying not a lot of attention to defense. Very dangerous against an opponent like Sihong.
Foolhardy at that moment as well.
But
however,
it does pay off. The judges award him a strike to a deep target.
It was a strike to a deep target with afterglow. Ooh, cutting to the floor is a big no-no in this venue.
I don't think that was actually a cut to the floor. There was a slight nick to the hand. Very tippy.
My goodness.
But they're going to count it. Isaiah takes the lead against Sihong.
Excellent work. I am electric right now, folks. Ooh, we have an attempt to post a thrust to the chest right there. Isaiah's range control is just too good, and we have a messy exchange. No scoring action, and a hit to the head by Isaiah.
A clean
Jason
to the top of the head.
Now that is something.
Isaiah
clinching it with a hit to the
Sihong.
head. Oh.
Now,
I am attempting to remain calm right now, folks. I am almost jumping out of my seat, believe me.
I will say,
and here it is. Oh, right to the head.
As Isaiah's mentor, I would caution him. I did see a strike going very close to being aimed for the spine.
I'm going to leave my seat really quick here, folks.
Great work from Isaiah to beat Sihong. If you want to, sure. Up next, we're going to have Michael DeSimone from Masterless Fencing versus Raiden Westerman, another Indes Ferox Gladio fighter.
I'm back, folks. I had to regain my composure there for a moment. I am cool as a cucumber once more.
Emotions are high in a venue like this. This is incredible. We're watching some of our best friends compete in a prestigious tournament. At this point, I don't know if this is the largest tournament in the Pacific Northwest, but it is very close.
We're up there. I believe it's between us and Lonan League Sword Squatch. And the competition for attendance must be close one way or the other. We have our judge Ember practicing some collie sticks right there as well. Now, I am familiar with Michael DeSimone as a fencer. I have crossed swords with them a couple times now. They are very fast, play a very good lateral game. This will be an interesting match.
Yeah, we saw Raiden compete in our first pool on stream, having an excellent showing against really challenging opponents. So looking forward to see how he does in Elims.
Having fought Raiden a good deal, I can tell you Raiden has an incredible sense of self-preservation with distance control. I do not think they're going to fall for a good deal of DeSimone's usual provocations. I'm eager to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the first rule of fencing is don't get hit. And if you can follow that rule, then the second rule of hitting is secondary.
Yes, exactly. Really. First rule, don't die. Second rule, kill.
Indeed.
Well, don't. I mean, hit. Don't kill.
Right. Yeah, no. Poor taste. Come on.
I apologize to all of the victims of the 2025 Indes Spring Fling. Oh, a quick jab to the legs right there, and a cut almost to the floor. Ooh, good wide play right here. Very furious, hard exchanges right there. And a hit to the hands from Raiden to Michael DeSimone.
One of the more extended exchanges we've seen today, and really excellent play from both sides, maintaining composure in trading offense and defense. Raiden comes out on top on that one.
It takes nerves of steel to not back out of an exchange like that, and Raiden did incredibly well. Michael DeSimone is a difficult person to attack in the middle distance. Let's see how this exchange continues.
I think it is the cod piece that protects him.
It is a powerful cod piece and a wonderful doublet. Wonderful man inside that too. Oh, another quick attack to the legs, you can see. Oh, and a fast extension to the hands. I almost didn't even see that.
Gotta protect your hands.
Yes, yes. You can kind of see Raiden getting caught out in the middle distance there. Keep your hands extended only during the cut.
Yeah.
Oh, and a fast hit to the legs right there. Raiden perhaps getting a little careless.
Raiden going against what you just said and really sitting a little too far into measures.
I think he is emboldened by that victory in that first exchange. Oh, and an excellent covered thrust with a following parry. Now that is what we are here for, folks. That was beautiful.
I'm curious to see if that afterblow is going to count. No, it won't. But look at the flex on that sword. I did see Raiden's blade take on a small bend.
Yeah, that was that perfect Shisen right to that parallel position.
Wow.
I might hop out of my chair to go see if I can't get someone's attention there. That blade does seem to have taken a bit of a set. Oop. Quick sliding exchange down there. And a very fast cut offline.
You have to stay balanced on your feet so that you can get that leg out of the way.
Well, what happened right there, I believe, is that Raiden doubted themselves at the last second and gave Michael DeSimone the option to back out and go for that shallow target. That is not an option that presents itself if you are pressuring a target.
Absolutely, and we do see that the director is taking a look at the sword, making sure that that set is not a safety issue.
Those Klobowskis are very tough swords. All right.
Man,
you're currently 6-4. This is an electric exchange. Ooh.
Absolutely.
A sweep and a suppressing cut. Oh, and a blow after blow.
Blow after blow to the body. Michael DeSimone finding that opening as narrow as it is.
It is a difficult opening to take.
Raiden.
Ooh, good pressure on Raiden, forcing Simone to the end of the ring, but DeSimone sinks a thrust with control.
With control that will end the bout.
An excellent performance by both fencers right there.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Joe has declared that that thrust was not with control, meaning only 2 wounds. Raiden has 1 wound left. What strategy do you suggest in such a situation?
I would play very defensively. Raiden has shown that he is able to pressure DeSimone to the edge of the ring, applying that pressure and taking shallow targets. However, DeSimone seems to have taken that strategy himself and taken the final point with a hit to the legs.
DeSimone, that entire match, really extending his measure, extending his presence to the very edge of what Raiden could perceive as the range.
An interesting development out there. I believe Raiden has just realized that Michael DeSimone was also an attendee at the Indes relay tournament we hosted earlier this year, where DeSimone gave a very good account of himself against a lot of our newer fencers.
Absolutely, absolutely. Masterless fencing coming out today with a great showing from a number of folks. Cody Shepard, another great fencer. Now we do have
the battle of the Camerons teeing up over here
against Cameron Blair.
Cameron on Cameron violence teeing up here. Cameron versus Cameron.
We have another.
Joe says
battle.
It is a Cameron off.
Cameron versus Cameron, F3 Cameron and Loning Cameron. I wonder who will win.
I will not be using last names while I am breaking down this play. I hope you can follow along at home.
Absolutely not. I think that Cameron is going to take it today.
You know, I am going to have to disagree here, Elliot. I believe Cameron's going to cinch this one pretty handily.
That's fair enough. I'd like to know what you have in mind that makes you say that, but let's just see how it plays out for now.
Oh, this bit's going to get old real fast.
No, we had another one earlier with Josh Handegard and Josh Pietro. I'm totally spacing on the name. So sorry.
I'm not going to lie. I
everybody.
thought you were going to say Josh Dale, and I became very afraid for a moment.
No. Josh and Josh. Anyways, the bit went great. We can commit to it again. Stream's going to love it.
Fully immersing myself in the bit. I am nothing without this bit.
Chat, if you want to hear more Cameron on Cameron action, make sure to leave us a thumbs up. Leave some comments.
Also, if you don't leave us a thumbs up, we're going to do the bit anyway.
Yeah, it's not going to help.
All right, getting some good energy in the ring right there. A little dancing from the seconds on the Lonin side of things.
Lonin always willing to do a little tippy tap.
It is always
get the mood up.
It is always good to get the heart rate going with a little lighthearted activity right there. And we have a pen hitting the floor. That is, in fact, a yellow card.
That is a yellow card. I would love to see Joe issue a penalty to that side of the ring. But that might just be my...
Oh, we're getting a close-up on the dance action right now. I believe we call this the Gremlin Hop.
I always thought it was the Goblin Shuffle.
Oh, I think it's a regional variation.
Oh, yeah, dialectical.
Oh, my God, look at that. Man has some fast feet and wonderful facial hair.
Incredible. We'd love to see him compete with those.
Well, we
right.
have our director coming back into the ring here.
Almost taking a spill. Now, for Cameron on Cameron action, here we go.
All right, a push into the wide play here. Both fencers applying pressure. A quick swipe to the hands for
Cameron
no result.
marching in, really.
And a hit to the head by Cameron, followed by a quick hit to the knee by Cameron.
Another one of those Gaisels.
A Gaisling for a Cameron afterblow.
Gaisling.
Or Cameron double. We got the double Camerons.
Double Cameron.
Fast attack. A quick
Cameron
exchange.
with some deft parrying against Cameron, who really applied some pressure.
Although I think Cameron still got a hit to the head right there.
Does look like Cameron struck a deep target.
Yeah, coming in over the parry there.
Excellent work by Cameron, but no discredit to Cameron.
No, that was an excellent defensive game by Cameron against Cameron's furious attack. Ooh, we got a much more cautious point game here. That sweep by Lonin. Ooh, and that rising cut to the side of the head.
It
now that was
does
beautiful.
Look like it blew straight through that parry.
That is that thing. Now, Filippo Devati does write that a rising cut carries in it such a load that it will frequently blow through guards, and I believe we just saw that right there.
Indeed. It looks like we do have some disagreement for judges about which Cameron.
I believe Cameron hit Cameron in the head right there, bringing it Cameron at 8 and Cameron at 5.
Great job to Cameron.
Excellent. Hey, no matter who wins this, Cameron's everywhere will win.
Great footwork from Cameron there.
Excellent.
Avoiding the cut.
Excellent void.
Holding poise.
Ooh.
Staying in the bind.
Ooh,
Cameron with a little bit strong hit to the head. I'd like to see a little more control of that power.
I would also like to mention that Cameron did preferentially take a shot to the hands with poor structure, leaving their head open during that exchange.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cameron taking an early lead here. Ooh, a close, furious exchange.
Simultaneous cuts from both of the Camerons. I did see more structure in Cameron's parry, so it looks like that is going to be what counts. We're going to see a deep strike from Cameron to Cameron.
That is the difficult part about facing a fencer as strong as Cameron is when you try to pressure them, their structure will just be better.
All right, so we are seeing the first warning in the Elims for excessive force.
There was a lot of pressure
Joe
coming through that bind.
The next warning will be a 3-point penalty on Cameron.
I don't think Cameron can withstand a 3-point penalty at this point in the rankings.
Certainly not. We are seeing a yellow card on Cameron.
I'm sure Cameron will tighten up their game very shortly.
Cameron marching in.
Yeah.
Cameron, jumping attack to the head with great control. You saw him tap and pull back. We love to see that.
That is something we have been teaching at IFG, is that quick tap to the head right there both keeps you safe and keeps your opponent safe. Oh, and we have our replay right here.
Ooh. Cameron is down to 1 wound left. needs to play a little bit more defensive.
But they are going in aggressively with a shallow target right there to even the score.
Really applying the pressure.
Yeah.
Although the score is not quite even.
They're attempting to claw their way back. If I were Cameron, I would be trying to play a defensive game, but also if I were Cameron, I would be trying to take that target, which it looks like Cameron just did.
Cameron does void the strike, extending out at just the right time.
You can see Cameron maintaining an excellent sense of tempo right there, matching their attacks with their footsteps, moving in synchronization. An excellent victory for Cameron and a good defense from Cameron.
Yeah, absolutely.
A credit to
Proud
Cameron.
of both Camerons.
Really a house united in being Cameron.
Unironically, though, Cameron Rasmussen from F3 Sword Academy takes his second fight against Cameron Blair from Lonen League.
Very well handled. You could see how Cameron responded to a different set of stimuli. Fewer descending attacks means that rising cut from the right was not as viable.
Absolutely. We didn't see him go back to that bread and butter Unterswerk.
Great adaptation against a different kind of opponent right there.
Yeah,
Truly
real open eyes fencing.
A versatile fencer right there. I can see him going very, very deep, potentially even extending into the winner's circle here.
And now we have Michael DeSimone from Masterless Fencing versus Isaiah Hollingsworth from Indes Ferox Gladio.
I believe this is a returning match. I believe these two did fight at the relay tournament we hosted earlier this year.
I am looking forward to this. Isaiah putting in a great showing against Sihong, and Michael DeSimone putting in a great showing against another Indes fighter. Can we see a little bit of vengeance here?
I'm eager to see. I am wondering, Michael DeSimone is incredible at applying that sort of wide play pressure, and Isaiah has a very good sense of range control.
Yeah. Michael DeSimone, definitely a more aggressive fighter than Sihong. Less of that tricky single-handed strikes.
Definitely.
But
although I don't...
Loves...
And a little bit of a messy exchange for our first here. Both fencers cutting in with a single intention attack and no cover.
Yeah. I saw the blow after blow. We did have one judge call that as a double.
Auditorily, that just sounded like a blow after blow.
Agreed.
All right, a more cautious advance from Isaiah this time around. Look at how deep
Great
that stance
range
is.
control.
Yo!
Phenomenal work to maintain measure. Going in with the strike, I would have said that afterblow was a little bit out of tempo.
Depending on which tournament is running that definition, by SoCal's definition, that would absolutely be a little out of tempo. I think we're a little more lenient here. Oh, and we have an excellent cover by Isaiah.
What a
and
beautiful
tap to the
hanger
hands.
parry.
Look at that, folks.
Isaiah doing great work, really belying his inexperience.
I don't think that inexperience counts for much anymore. Having fought Isaiah several times, I will say Isaiah is a difficult contender to pin down.
Definitely. Michael DeSimone does catch an opening for a shallow strike on Isaiah.
I believe that if Isaiah doesn't tighten up, that might just be the timber of this fight. Ooh, a play from Alber coming up into a Vom-Tog right there, and a hit to the knee right there. A little too much focus on the blade and not the body.
Michael really, that seems like his bread and butter. If we're talking about high percentage techniques to fall back to, that leg strike, and then I love how after the leg strike, he doesn't just stop there. He extends the point, makes sure that his opponent cannot advance in on him without stabbing themselves in the neck.
It does mean that within that sort of one tempo window for an afterblow, it does mean that the opponent can't just throw a suicidal afterblow to the head. They do have to engage the blade.
Definitely.
I agree with that, with the far judge right there. That did look like a hit to a deep target with an afterblow.
A lot of disagreement from the judges here.
It's a messy exchange. You can see two very fast fencers and two fencers very focused on getting the hit, perhaps to the detriment of their own safety mid-exchange.
Which we have seen quite a bit of today. Now,
unfortunately, that does seem to just kind of be the curse of a lot of HEMA. Oh, and a hit to the hands. A spirited attempt to extend for that afterblow, but to no avail.
Michael DeSimone
cinching the match
Takes
right there.
another victory against an Indes Ferox Gladio. Great showing from Isaiah.
Great
Really
showing.
fun exchanges. seen there.
Fantastic exchanges right there. It is always good to see Michael DeSimone in action. Just a very cinematic, a picturesque fencer right there.
Absolutely.
Very daring with those cuts to the legs, too. I believe a lot of fencers tend to eschew those on the first intention because it does leave your head open, making it a losing exchange at best. However, in that case, it has really been paying off for Michael DeSimone.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like our fighters really have a response for it, and his ability to present a threat directly after, making sure that there's no follow-ups, is great work.
Oh, absolutely. Fantastic showing by both fencers right there. It seems like we have a little deliberation by our judges, director, and our media manager there, right there as well. Our producer, that is a much better name than media manager. I'd like to formally retract that. That is a weak title right there.
AV manager, Philip Arroyo, who has set up this entire live stream, running the entire show.
I would also like to speak to Philip's general ability and appearance. He is a very handsome man with great facial hair.
All right, everybody. So here is the plan. We are going to jump straight into our quarterfinal round for the Open Longsword. After that, we are going to jump into the WNBT underrepresented genders finals, and then we're going to come back for the Open Longsword semis and finals after a short break.
Now, I'll tell you right now, I am very excited to see the WNBT finals. While I was wallowing at my service industry job earlier today, I was surreptitiously watching the live stream that we have so graciously set up, and I saw some great play on the WNBT stream. Really looking forward to seeing the finals for this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any thoughts on the commentary for that live stream?
It was fantastic in general, you
Fantastic.
know? Peerless. It's hard to wake up and do good commentary that early in the morning, but I feel like our fearless commentators are as eloquent as they are handsome.
I'm going to go ahead and attribute that all to Josh Handegard, who came in clutch, really encouraging a real wakeful sense here. Also, 600 milligrams of caffeine.
Oh,
will do that.
Absolutely. I was really afraid you were going to mention other substances when the milligrams started coming out.
Absolutely not. This is a family-friendly stream.
This is a family-friendly stream.
Peter.
Hence my fear when you mentioned that. However, caffeine, fantastic, family-friendly. Give it to your dog. Give it to your friends.
Don't give it to your dog.
Maybe not give it to your dog.
Caffeine is bad for dogs, as far as I know. Now, we are having a little bit of a break while the quarterfinals are getting set up.
I am going to step away from a moment to get a complimentary staff cookie.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off the commentary right there.
Now, Peter, while we're on a break, I wanted to ask you something. You are well known within IFG for practicing the Vadi style. Can you tell us a little bit about that style, where you learned it specifically, and what it means?
So, Filippo di Vadi is a late 1400s Italian, so it's sort of following in the footsteps of earlier Italian fencers. Pietromonte and its earliest extension, Fiore di Berry, who should be a familiar term, familiar name to many people in the
Hey, Peter, I'm so sorry. I turned off your microphone. Restart that entire speech.
I have been yapping for like a full minute, and I didn't
Yeah.
even realize my microphone was on. My reputation will never recover. Filippo de Vadi de Pisano is a 14th or 15th century Italian fencing master. His style focuses a lot on quick turns of the body and a particular focus on grappling and exchanges in what he refers to as the mezza spada, which you can think of as a middle distance exchange.
Mezza spada.
Yeah, meaning half sword. Your sword should be meeting halfway down their length. We have our
We have
competitors.
a couple of
teeing up here.
fighters coming on in.
Now, we have been seeing a lot of interesting play, notably from the wide play, a lot of hits to the hands, a lot of hits to the legs. I believe if these are who I think they are, we might see a deeper kind of exchange this time around. As we
What do you
kind of
mean by
advance.
deeper?
A lot more aggression, a lot more pushing into the center. I don't mean in terms of force, just in terms of overall play.
Absolutely.
I am extremely eager to see how this goes. I am not so good at recognizing gear, unfortunately, so if the left fencer is who I think they are, this should be a very fascinating exchange to commentate.
I believe this is going to be Amelia Crate versus Lucifer.
Versus Lucifer. Oh, goodness. The Twin Horn Devil himself has entered the ring.
Yeah, actually surprisingly nice guy. We
Oh,
did an
really?
interview with him earlier, and fantastic guy. Really.
Let's go. All right, I have been made more able to hear our darling producer, Philip.
Fantastic news. All right, per Wombat PA, one of the bracket matches has a -5 points on it, which doesn't match any of the scoring in HEMA score card.
We should pass
I'm
that around to
sure
our table crew here.
That will be addressed soon. Don't pay too much attention to it. There are a
Lucifer
lot of
versus Amelia, great
adjustments
teeing
that
up
happen.
here.
Now, we have another masterless fencing competitor in Lucifer and another Lonin League competitor in Amelia Crate. Both clubs that are putting out great showings today.
Understood. We have just
Okay.
been made aware that a double in the previous match does imply a malus to your score in the following match, hence why Lucifer from Masterless Fencing is entering -1 wounds.
You have been reading too many Renaissance manuscripts with sentences like that, I gotta say.
I have
Talking
a brain
about malice
injury.
to the score.
Ooh, fast exchanges right here. Ooh, and a hit to the hand from
Lucifer.
Amelia Crate right there. Lucifer taking 1 wound, I believe.
Yeah, you saw Lucifer really go for that defense. Amelia with a precise surgical strike on the hand.
It does become problematic to play a defensive game against such aggressive fencers.
Ooh.
Oh, a good attempt at cover, though I do believe that snuck through to a shallow target right there.
I thought that thrust landed perhaps a little bit light. Ember does agree.
I am forced to agree with Ember here. That thrust did seem to land. I was a little focused on Lucifer's cover right there, evening out the score. Excellent play from Lucifer.
Great commitment.
That is, ooh, and a scalp
Again.
cut right there.
Lucifer catching these tiny openings where Amelia seems to be cutting across, swapping between guards. Lucifer finding that narrow opening, sliding in, getting another wound.
Absolutely. It is a difficult game to play and one very focused on finding the correct tempo to attack.
Oh.
Almost losing their sword, retreating into long tail, Kodalunga right there, and following into a rising cut into a double.
Yeah, another double. That is going to affect Lucifer's score going into the next round. Or, sorry, that's going to affect the winner of this bout's score going into the next round.
Presupposing a little bit much there, aren't you, Elliot?
I sure was. My biases have made themselves known.
I am completely unbiased as a commentator, as we all well know. But that does look like a wonderful descending cut to the hands from Amelia Crate right there.
Yeah, very clean. Very precise.
All right, a much more cautious advance into wide play right here.
Amelia presenting their point.
Ooh,
and with a
excellent wind to high guard right there. Though
wind to a high thrust.
I do agree that there was a receiving or a following action. I don't believe it was double tempo.
It seemed to me to be after the tempo. You can see Amelia seems to durchwechsel the attack, getting into that high guard. And now we see
an attempt at a feint right there.
Oh!
Ooh, and a cut to the top of the head mid-grapple. Excellent attempt at a grapple, though.
I saw the masterless fencer capture the sword, cut to the head, should be control.
That is absolutely a control point, in my opinion. Yep, there it is. Quick false edge reminder to the top of the head right there. Very classy attempt to end the grapple.
All right, they're not going to call control because the judges could not confirm.
I believe Amelia's sword arm might still have been free.
Amelia with a high Vomtog.
Yeah, you see this a lot when a fencer gets a little more pressured. They revert to more of a boxer's stance with their hands close to their chest. Long, messy exchange right there. I was too busy yapping to really get a clean read.
Yeah, I saw a lot of hits there. Only one got called. We're going to see one wound.
Yep,
on
there it
Lucifer.
is. Wide cuts for being such tight measure. Lucifer tightening things up, cutting with their body more than their arms.
Now both taking a reserved.
Ooh. Rising cut to the hand right there. You'll notice, similar to Cameron Rasmussen's plays earlier, that did stop Amelia's sword. Never mind, I am talking out of both sides of my mouth right there.
Blue is going to suffer. Both fencers are going to suffer one wound. Cut at the very edge of measure, and that is going to be it. A very tippy.
Perhaps a preemptive hug by Lucifer before the match has been called.
No announcement made.
Judge issuing or director issuing a warning for not listening to instructions. An abundance of good nature. Excellent play by both fencers, though.
Great guy, that Lucy.
Yeah.
And excellent fencing by Amelia as well. No discredit. That gorgeous winding high guard thrust to the mask. You can't say enough about stylish fencing like that.
If anyone viewing is unfamiliar or unpracticed in the art, you definitely feel those high winds the day afterwards. It requires a great deal of extension on your shoulders.
Oh, yeah. I can tell you in practices, practicing those high guards, those hanger parries, those ox guards, it is very tiring. Now
they are still tabulating the score for our quarterfinal matches here. We will have more information on that as things develop.
Now, I can tell you it does look like Justin Reimer and Jason Smith are going to be fighting on one of these pits. That is a fight I would love to see. I hope that does come to us.
Oh, that is simply an incredible match.
Who do we have in the back there? Can you tell?
Oh, my goodness. Someone very tall and someone who I'm very afraid of. I had their name mentioned to me earlier, but because I have a brain much like some kind of sponge, I have not absorbed that.
Gotcha. So now we are looking at the live brackets. We can see that we are going to see a match between Cameron Rasmussen and the winner of the previous bout, Lucifer. As well, we'll see a match between Jason Smith and Justin Reimer in the quarterfinals.
Are some of these still being tabulated, or did Handegard and Reimer double out on each other?
Looks like Reimer took victory on Handegard, but it looks like he received 2 doubles during that bout. I believe that the score is 0-0, potentially due to an afterblow, but they would give priority to the strike that happened first. Now, Next up in the quarterfinals, we do have Rocco Jones and Michael DeSimone. We've seen great fencing out of Michael DeSimone. No surprise there.
Now, Rocco Jones has become an increasingly more prolific fencer around our local scene. Definitely exploding out recently, making a great deal of an impression on everyone he fences.
Definitely. I don't know if you caught that in the back, but we saw a great one-handed thrust from the left fencer with a responding thrust to the leg from the right fencer. Very interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's frustratingly, calling this with our own terminology, the fencer in the blue jacket is the red fencer. Great winding attacks right there. Meyer-style provocations. Just not fast enough to catch that incoming blow to the torso.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. We did see, as we've mentioned on stream, a great Meyer bout between Will and Anthony Buonomo. We hope to see them in
Buonomo's a fascinating fencer to watch, and I do hope we get to see more of him. Oh, and a double in the back pit right there, but a fun little attempt at a grapple at the end. That was a mutual headshot.
All right, we are going to go to the semifinals, which the first bout will be Lucifer on the blue corner versus Cameron Rasmussen on the red corner. Again, a situation where the blue fencer is wearing red and the red fencer is wearing blue.
Took the words right out of my mouth right there. I am probably going to mess that up at least a couple times here.
Frankly, I want to know what kind of clown show this is that could happen.
Not even one of the better-known clown shows.
So true. This is going to be about to watch.
Ooh, getting an approach from Oaks.
Ox guard.
Now that is an...
Cameron not taking the bait, applying pressure, staying poised.
Oh, and you see that rising cut to an Ox on the left side right there using a dynamic guard.
Absolutely.
Excellent play right there.
Going with the bread and butter, and especially right after a beautiful parry. Watch this parry here in slow-mo. You see him deflect the thrust and immediately winding into that Unterschritt.
And you see that shift onto the back foot on Cameron Rasmussen's part right there. An excellent way to make sure they remain defensive and able to retreat if that attack didn't stop the sword.
Yeah, maintaining that wide, stable stance. A little bit messy there.
Hard
Does
to
look like
call.
Cameron came out on top.
That looks like it might have been a pretty swift cut to the head right there, just cutting down the blade.
It does appear they are calling it for a shallow target. All right, both point forward. Lucifer definitely not as aggressive anymore.
Yeah.
He understands the danger.
Having been chastened a little bit. Ooh.
We see another Gaiselin attempt from Cameron. Does not work as well as it has the rest of the bouts.
No, if someone is able to extend as fast as Lucifer, that may not be a solid choice.
I think you're absolutely right. It is a blow with afterblow.
Still Cameron Rasmussen in the lead here.
Lucifer trying to probe the defenses.
Ooh, but
a strong strike to the head. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a yellow card there for force.
Arcing that shot beautifully over Lucifer's guard, though.
No yellow card for force.
And once again, that wind to that left Oaks is just hypnotic to watch.
I do believe that I saw a thrust land from the blue side, though.
Yeah, I believe so. Far Judge is attempting to avoid the exchange.
Let's see this in slow-mo. Short exchange. Jumping in.
It does look like the thrust may have been avoided. Yes, but they watched the exchange. Oh, quick attempt to get the hands of that rising cut. Not sure if that posted cut to the hands hit.
Did not see any hit there, but they're going to call that as a limb hit.
Could have been a scrape to the knuckles right there. Oh, we have a little conferring between our directors right there.
Going to reset the score, which has not been updated. Never mind.
All right.
Back into it. Cameron presenting a threat. Lucifer holding back a little bit. Now in the bind.
Holding back there is an interesting choice, as it does let Cameron just sort of aggress into that space.
Definitely.
Blow after blow.
However, the blow was to a deep target.
When you're in the
comes
lead
ahead
like
on
this,
points.
taking a deep target for an afterblow is calculus that can work for you.
Yeah. Especially this far into the lead.
Ooh, but that does look like that was a wrap hit to the head. Excellent attack by Lucifer. Good job not losing the initiative in such a complex exchange.
Interesting. Lucifer clawing back some real estate. Let's see if Cameron can close this out on this exchange.
Ooh, an attempt at a posted thrust by Cameron going sideways there, eating a dose of his own medicine in many regards.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there it is, that rising cut to the hands. Absolutely incredible work, and good honor on Cameron there, showing the judges where he got hit. We're down to 1-2. This fight could go either way.
I'm nervous. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. Oh, quick flicking cut to the head right there. That could be the match for Lucifer.
We see a self-call from Cameron
Oh, yeah, mask
on
off.
that one-handed posted thrust.
Yeah, here it is. Here it is. You can see that. Yep.
It
Flicking.
does touch. Now, from a judge's perspective, I might say that that was low quality, maybe not a martially valid strike, but Cameron really taking honor into his own hands, saying, hey, that hit.
I believe if you're the person in the pit, the one getting hit, if that sword touches your mask, it becomes very real to you, even if it's a flicking cut like that.
Absolutely. You can hear it like a gong being rung.
So I believe that cut probably flicked down the chin of Cameron's mask and kind of tapped the top of Cameron's chest. Whether or not that's a martially valid strike is up for debate, but it is definitely a scoring action.
Now, I do see over in this pit to our left, we do have Justin Reimer fighting Jason Smith.
Oh, now that is a fight I love. Oh, an attempt by a Gaisling by Reimer.
Yeah.
Or Reimer.
A typical Justin attack, that Gaisling. He utilizes it a lot in a very long measure scenario to try and get those sneaky
We have
hits
a
off.
distant shot with an impressively lanky individual walking in the foreground. All right, there we go.
Now we got Jason in the green doublet and Justin in the blue.
Now that quick leg shot from Jason. Jason is kind of a master of those cheeky shots if you've ever fenced him before. If we are lucky, we'll see Reimer applying some incredible body lean, getting behind his sword. Kind of a trademark of his style. You can see him veering all over the place.
Fancy footwork.
Man moves around like a little sports car.
That is not how I would have described it, but it is absolutely accurate.
I'm getting a little loopy here, I'm not going to lie. But he is a supremely fun person to fence for that. He just careens all over the ring.
I gotta say, it is fun to watch. Now, like I said, he is one of the top-ranked fencers in the world.
Yes.
Out of Lonin League.
Coming out of SoCal, he breached the top 100, I believe.
I think he's in the top 10.
My goodness, I am privileged to be breathing the same air.
I could be wrong about that. I haven't checked the rankings in a
No,
while.
I believe he is. He's definitely one of the top-ranked American fencers right now. Oh, and a quick hit to the hands. A good chase around the ring. Good control.
You
Jaunty
see
little run.
that classic Lonin flurry of blows, attacking the same line over and over, baiting out a poor defense from Jason.
Yes. Now, having fenced Jason a bit, I will say that he is somewhat susceptible to being pressured like that.
Absolutely.
He is incredible at
And he'll admit that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. He will also hit me for saying that.
Yeah.
But I am putting his weaknesses out for the world to see.
He lives on that outside measure, extending to the very edge of range, but that pressure, getting inside of his range and holding back his sword, doesn't really deal with that very well. Now, we do get to see one of our semifinals winners, Lucifer, here, taking up our shot. How dare he?
But that is
Somebody
a
go
beautiful
yell
kit
at
he has right there, the red and white jacket.
With the
tasteful
little
fade.
tassels.
Oh, the little tassels, and it looks like a scabbard. Now,
Very
you know
nice
someone
sword
is
frog.
a genuine swordsmaster when they do have a scabbard for their fetter.
It is impressive.
All right, we seem to be reconvening in the center ring here. Oh. The director in the far ring over there, the one in the hat currently lowering the staff, that would be our very own Elliot Robinson, a fencer that we are privileged to be, are privileged to know, and one who will be leaving to live in Europe very soon. He will be dearly missed here in the club.
Germany, specifically.
Indeed, indeed.
Which
Not just
is
the
a
entire
shame.
Europe.
He does sharpen all of our blades, so we will unfortunately be fencing going forward with dull blades.
Indeed.
Which are far less effective.
Sharpens our blades, sharpens our minds, and lifts our spirits.
Absolutely.
All right, looks like we have our fencers for the next round coming in here. I recognize Andy Plymate of Bridge City Blades there in the red and white.
If anybody was tuned in for his interview, we'll get to see what he said in action. Playing defensively, maintaining composure, fighting with that Fiore flair.
That is a common theme you see in a lot of the Italian text. There is actually a bit of a misconception in a lot of Fiore and moving forward once again into Vadi and sources like Marazzo, where a lot of actions as they are prescribed are defensive in nature. It leads to a misconception that a lot of Fiore is simply counter fencing, and the simple issue is that counter fencing is good fencing.
Yeah. Now, I would like to point out for the audience, you may be noticing that Ian Burgess-Linden, Andy Plymate's opponent, has currently only 5 wounds left to him. This is part of the rule set in which doubles from previous rounds carry over as wounds. So he will be starting at a severe disadvantage for having doubled significantly in his last match. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Ian Burgess-Linden is coming from the Crossing Fight School, which is on the East Coast.
Indeed. I was actually speaking with him earlier. He comes from New Jersey.
New Jersey, all the way to Portland to fight in this tournament.
Yes, indeed. He, as he definitely told me, and I am not lying about, he came all the way out here just for us.
I believe it.
All right. 2 very long fencers here. Starting in a crossed hands posture. Very... Ooh. A quick swipe to the hands, chased by Andy. Ooh, and a hit to the hands, followed by an excellent high wind. You can see that starting on the back foot for Ian is, in fact, influencing their technique a little bit. They're fishing for those deep targets, trying to get an early lead or to make back that lost ground. Andy is a supremely hard target to do that against.
And Andy doing a great job of playing defensively, really not leaning on his lead, but utilizing that pressure to force Ian into a mistake.
Yeah, there's kind of an advanced game happening now. Oh, a push to a grapple and a high wind, an attempt to push the blade into Ian's face. No scoring action prior to the ring out, it looks like.
A nice little dance, though.
Yeah, definitely a lot of careful control of that pressure. Those grapples can go sideways.
Definitely.
Oop, and an excellent slide to the, I would call that as a thrust, absolutely a hit to the upper opening.
Yeah.
Ian's jacket doing its job very well. They're turning that into a sliding cut. And that is
match.
That is match. Andy Plymate disposing of a very dangerous fencer very quickly.
In short order.
Oh, look at that. And look at that body void behind the blade.
Can we see that replay again,
yes,
Mr.
please.
Producer?
Tee that up one more time. That was, I want that framed on my wall.
It will be here in one moment.
Here we have it again. Look at that. Thrusting, voiding behind the sword.
And I love to see, you see that often, Andy talked about it in our interview, that redoubling of a thrust. Thrusting, feinting almost, bringing it back, redoubling it out, and it lands this time in really perfect form.
Absolutely. If there is a single moment I would like to take from this tournament, it would probably be that thrust.
I think it would be your company here with me.
This is true. You know, actually, it was me falling short of the Stein hoisting competition by a mere 10 seconds.
Right.
Yes, but also, your company, your companionship is
Hold on. Sorry. what is the Stein hoisting competition? You're
Oh, well,
talking
you
about?
see, for the listeners at home who are just tuning in remotely, you see, here at the Spring Fling Tournament of Roses, we are privileged to have a bar on site, which does make us the premier tournament on the West Coast.
Absolutely.
And in that bar, we have a Stein hoisting competition. They fill a stein to the 1 liter mark with water, and they time you to see how long you can hold it.
Is that still going on?
It is still going on.
Holy.
I'm realizing right now I forgot to take my participation trophy for that. It is, in fact, a cute little bottle opener.
Do we have a break coming up soon? I want to hoist some steins. Hopefully it can be filled with beer so that I can drink.
I think we might be able to work that out. I was drinking while hoisting said stein. I can take over as lead commentator. My deep and abiding love for my co-commentator means that he might need to hoist the stein.
Our producer has reminded us that I don't get breaks because I strongly claimed to be lead commentator, which it has now bitten me right in the bottom.
We have actually handcuffed Elliot to the chair.
Well, yeah. It's actually my leg. It's an
Yeah. It's a manacle,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we really are medieval here
We're
at
into
Indes
that.
Ferox Gladio. We live the life.
It's honestly amazing that nobody's fighting in a tunic, although some very tunic-esque doublets.
Yes. There is. we're getting some wonderful cameraman banter right here. I am very distractible. This is one of my many flaws.
It's the ADHD.
It is the ADHD. It is absolutely the trouble sitting still disease ruining my life.
I would like to point out, Mr. Producer, that Havina D has commented, "I vote for buzzed commentators, LOL." Now,
I would like
that
to.
sounds like a strong endorsement from our viewership.
I will cover for you if you want to get a drink.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'll send one of our gophers.
Yeah. Well, we can't bring drinks out of the bar. That is the compact with the bar on premises. But if you want to run up there and house yourself a Pilsner really quick, I can hold down the fort over here.
Ooh, fascinating idea. I may actually...
I would also like to mention, if I can take a look at our tablet right here, Havina D, you're wise and we appreciate you. Second, the Buzz commentators. That is 2 votes for Buzz commentators.
We
right
have
there.
2 votes for Buzz commentators.
I believe that's democracy in action, folks. The public has spoken.
Thank you, Killer Turtles. I think that has pushed me over the fence.
Killer Turtles, we are going to start implementing Twitch streamer-style rewards for people who advocate for us getting drunk.
Absolutely.
I'm not exactly sure what these rewards could be. I will give you Joe Calistro's car.
I love that car. It is a well-maintained junk bucket. And I got the opportunity to drive it in Seattle, which, by the way, if you don't know, Joe's car is a manual transmission with a very stiff clutch, and Seattle has a lot of hills.
Oh, Seattle is known, in fact, for having many hills.
Yeah, so that was a strong challenge. Unfortunately, Joe was a little bit tipsy, so had to take the reins there. But we made it home safe, so I'll take the car.
Was this at
Mon,
Sword
thank you
Squatch?
for cheers from Washington State. It was at Sword Squatch, yes.
Washington State, beautiful state, close runner-up to Oregon, but Oregon does reign supreme in my heart. I will not be taking commentary on this.
Christopher Phillips, I will ensure that you have at least one Buzz commentator during your rapier match tomorrow, pending permission from my producer.
Always good to hear from Christopher Phillips, a lovely person with a very distinctive kit. I am excited to see them during Rapier tomorrow.
We love to see it. All right, I am going to take this opportunity while we appear to be in a break to make a quick stop in the restroom and up at the bar. We'll see you in a moment.
Absolutely. So what we have seen today is a lot of very good play, a lot of atypical play, a lot of rising cuts, a lot of movement to hanging guards. You tend to see a HEMA meta appear at a lot of these events. It's referred to unglamorously as von Flugenort in a certain way, the way that people will just move from their right shoulder position through the extended arms down to their left hip, moving from Vomtog, Langort to Flug. We have seen a lot of deviation from that today. We have seen a lot of very interesting exchanges, and I expect to see a lot more as we see the fight heat up for the winner's circle. All right, let me take a look at what you, the fans, think here. Can someone pay me to come to Rapier tomorrow from Sawyer Freshie? As someone who saw Sawyer fight in SoCal, I would love to see that personally. We are always blessed to have such a wonderful audience. And of course, as always, thanks to our directors, our judges, and everyone not currently yapping into a microphone. All of these people, all the burgundy shirts you see milling about are, in fact, making this entire wonderful show work. And of course, thanks to our hosts here at Rose City Futsal. We could not ask for a better venue. They are very permissive. They are very appreciative of us. As a bartender myself, I actually have crossed paths with the bartenders at the on-site pub several times, and they're all lovely people. If you are in Portland, if you're visiting Portland, I highly recommend you stop in at some point, or if you just love football. Looks like we're teeing up for the WNBT tournament. That'd be the underrepresented genders, women, non-binary, and trans people. Always a very fun tournament to fight or to watch. Got some very good competitors here. Some competitors I recognize from earlier tournaments I have fought in as well. A lot of these people will also be represented in the open pools, sort of fighting in both tournaments. Absolutely excited to see what's going to happen here. I'm thinking as we're... Yeah, I might have to double check as well. I do have my lovely co-competitor here, or co-commentator, cheersing me cheekily from the balcony of Clive's Pub. I am also being harassed by another Indes Ferox Gladio member. I would like to mention Philip is our wonderful media manager. We have a vicious fight between father and son right here. Miles Colistro right there, running back for a sword. I am going to politely ask Joe Colistro to remain in view of the camera as we tee up here. A vicious attack by competitor Miles right there. Oh my God, look at him go. Oh, good parrying and defense by... Oh, Miles has dropped the sword, but has... Oh, he's taken a grievous wound. They both are ambidextrous. You have teed in for the fight of the century right here, Elliot.
Oh my goodness. Miles versus Joe, two of the finest fencers I've ever seen.
Miles is in fact a dangerous fencer. I have crossed swords with him at many times. He actually has announced his ability to transform
Miles
into...
with a strong overhand strike to the leg.
Now, many do not know this, but Miles has in fact detailed his ability to me to transform into a silver ice-breathing dragon named Bunu.
Great job to Miles, taking victory over Joe.
I am going to go ask Joe a question here really quick on my way up to get a beer. Before I disappear back upstairs, I would like to clarify that I have just secured an exclusive interview between those two combatants for later.
Phenomenal news. That's excellent news. We're going to do that interview a little bit later. Now, I have returned. We're going to take about a 5-minute break to recalibrate some stats, and then we're going to go into the WNBT finals here. Now, I have chugged about half of a cider, so I am feeling well lubricated for this final set of matches for the WNBT pools. After that, we are going to jump right back into the Longsword finals. Stay tuned, everybody, and we'll be right back.